Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. Purport. Sri Yamunacharya, a great devotee in Krishna consciousness, said, Yadavadi mamachatta Krishna padaravinde navanavara damanyudantam rantamasit tadavadi bhattinara sangame smaryamane bhavati mukha vikara shushtu nishtivinam cha. Since I have been engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, realizing ever new pleasure in Him, whenever I think of sex pleasure, I spit at the thought, and my lips curl with distaste. A person in Brahma Yoga or Krishna consciousness is so absorbed in the loving service of the Lord that he loses his taste for material sense pleasure altogether. The highest pleasure in terms of matter is sex pleasure. The whole world is moving under its spell, and a materialist cannot work at all without this motivation. But a person engaged in Krishna consciousness can work with greater vigor without sex pleasure, which he avoids. That is the test in spiritual realization. Spiritual realization and sex pleasure go ill together. A Krishna conscious person is not attracted to any kind of sense pleasure due to his being a liberated soul. Bhaya sparsheshva saktatma vindatyatmani yatsukam sabrahma yoga yuktatma sukam akshayam ashnute. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. So, in every circumstance, there are different types of activities or desires that a person may manifest according to the circumstance. Somebody may be very much interested in eating, another one may be very much interested in sleeping, another one may be very much interested in mating, another one in defending, and I'm sure we could break that down into hundreds of thousands of different things that somebody's interested doing at any particular point in time. However, the living entity who is in Maya, he only is absorbed in such activities. For one who's not in Maya, but who's actually Krishna conscious, such activities do not give him any pleasure. Even the body may be relating with its senses, the senses may be relating with their sense objects. But the soul is neither part of the senses or sense objects. The soul is not part of the body. The soul is the energy which gives the body life. It is not part of the body. Just like we cannot understand the soul as like a finger or a nail or a kneecap. It's not a part of the body, that thing in the heart. It is superior to the body and more important than the body in all respects, because the soul will go on living when the body dies. Therefore, although the body may be engaged and is engaged in unlimited forms of sense gratification, still the soul is always separated from that. The soul is ever aloof from these things. For one who is Krishna conscious, that aloofness is fully understood. For one who is not Krishna conscious, that is not at all understood. For a person who's not Krishna conscious, he can't understand at all how the soul is separate from the activities of the body. Because he thinks, I am my body, I am meant to enjoy this body, and I will go on enjoying this body forever, as I am presently doing it. But for the soul, these things are just an illusion. But for the person who's in illusion, he can't understand that. For the soul, there is only knowledge. But because the spirit soul has desired to enjoy in this material world, he falls into illusion. Although he normally has knowledge, he falls into illusion. And his normal, knowledgeable condition is lost. At that point, he can no longer identify himself as distinct from matter. At that time, he thinks of himself as matter. I am my body. And this causes him to sink into the lower and lower and lower forms of consciousness until, practically speaking, he cannot even have the slightest understanding. For instance, as an animal, or as a bird, or as a beast. And all of this has taken place simply because the living entity is eager, is desirous of identifying with and enjoying matter. So long as one thinks like that, he will become captured by the material energy. When one understands something more advanced, then he is able to go beyond this kind of idea. When one is very advanced, he knows perfectly well he's not this body, but he also realizes where the bliss comes from. He knows that it comes from within. He knows that the bliss comes from the soul. Any bliss we might experience is only a reflection of that which is already there in the soul. Real bliss means spirit, spiritual. One who actually understands that, he is disgusted with activities of material enjoyment. One who talks about it but doesn't understand it is not disgusted with activities of material enjoyment. Therefore, the test, bhaktiya parasanubhavo viraktiya nachacha, the test is how much one is disattached, unattached to material sense gratification. That's the test. And if one is too much attached still, then he is not detached. He is not actually that advanced. One is advanced who is advanced in his understanding that he is spirit soul. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He is the one whom we are meant to serve and love only. In this way, when one actually has understood the supreme condition of Krishna, position of Krishna, when one has actually understood the Lord as the controller, as the enjoyer, as the master, as the most worshipable object, then that person has all possibility of coming to the stage of ruchi, taste. He actually has some transcendental taste. He likes chanting Hare Krishna. It's not that, oh, I've got to chant my rounds. Ugh. He thinks, no, leave me alone. I want to chant my rounds. I don't want to be bothered with this material existence. I want to hear the holy name of Krishna. I want 2 hours a day at least of concentration on Krishna before the material energy starts to shake me in my service. Ruchi is there, some taste. No, I want to serve Krishna. No, I want to please Krishna. No, I only want Krishna prasadam. I will not take anything from outside. These ideas are born within one who actually has some realization of the spiritual platform. And if some materialistic thing presents itself to him, he will not be at all interested in it. What are the materialistic things? Well, money, wealth, position, fame, enjoyment of the opposite sex, beautiful condition, great learning. These are all products of Maya's tricks. These are Maya's greatest weapons. How to attract the conditioned soul with these weapons. How to bring the conditioned soul under her influence by attracting him with these things which he places very high value on. This morning we were talking in Korshanas or wherever it was about value. What was it yesterday? Values about the different people have different values. And because we place value as being very great value on money or on position or on opulences, because we place great value on these things, then Maya is capable of attracting us with these things. She just holds it in front of us, and then we must fall for Maya's tricks. That's like the ass wants the carrot, so you just put the carrot in front. Everything's taken care of by nature. You don't have to struggle to attract the ass to the carrot. Dress the carrot in a pretty way. It's natural. Carrot means, yes, I want. So Maya takes the raw form of sense desire and manifests in that way before the conditioned soul. And the conditioned soul, upon receiving such a gift from Maya, thanks Maya again and again for supplying him with this very treasured sense object. He thanks God even. How the sense gratification has come to him. And he's very happy. But actually, this is Maya. Because that same thing always later turns to be a cause of suffering condition. So Maya attracts us only with that which we consider to be valuable. If we don't consider this to have any value, wealth, fame, profit, distinction, or whatever, if we don't consider this to have value, then how can Maya attract us with it? If we don't consider it valuable, nobody can attract you. It's like in some places You don't see it in this country, but in other countries, when you stop at a stoplight, in Argentina they do this all the time, then all of the people come running up to your window to sell you a sponge or a pen or a flag or some popcorn or whatever they're selling. Everybody's selling you something. So, when you look at it, especially as a devotee, and he comes running up to you with his sponges and his popcorn, so you don't consider it has any value. So he may wave it around this way and that way, but it does not matter because it has no value. I don't consider it having any value, so it doesn't matter how cheap his sponges are. He can even be throwing sponges away. I don't even care about his sponges. So, because I don't give it any value, then he cannot attract me. But if he were to come by with something which I considered valuable, snap it up. But then he'd make the price higher. So Maya does like that. Maya comes to attract us with just that thing we consider valuable. Whatever it is. Whatever it is that we consider valuable, Maya comes to attract us in that way. Unless you're Krishna conscious. Then, if you're Krishna conscious, the only thing you consider valuable is Krishna. Therefore, Maya doesn't bring you Krishna. That's not the business of Maya. She brings you more Maya. But one who wants Krishna doesn't place any value in these things. For him, it is worthless. That's why in Bhagavad Gita it says that one sees equally, sama, the pebbles or a clod of earth or a piece of gold. And in fact, all three of these things are exactly the same. It's the earth element. But one who is in Maya thinks the clod of earth, the stone, these are not very valuable. But I can use the stone to make in the concrete, and the clod of earth I can grow food in. And the gold I will take as valuable, and I will buy things with it. But the Krishna conscious man says, this is earth, this is earth, this is earth. None of it is any particularly more valuable than any other part of it. Of course, if we could use some of it in Krishna's service, we would. But we would not think that this thing is more important inherently than the other thing. Whatever is there in Krishna's service, we use. That's all. And if you can't figure out how to use gold, then who needs gold? Well, we could put some on the altar and deities look nice. That we give the gold to Krishna. We don't require such things. In fact, spiritual personality avoids these things because he sees that they could also become a source of trouble. But that is not really the point. The point is that what is more valuable about this or that? Does your prasadam taste better off a golden plate than off of a silver plate? Or off of a paper plate? Personally, we think it tastes better off of a paper plate. But only if you're in the back of a Sankirtan van. If you try to eat off the paper plate in the temple, then it's better to eat off a silver plate. But if you're in the Sankirtan van, then it's better a paper plate. But of course, nobody would understand that analysis. So, this equality of vision is there because we don't make value like that. Our value is whatever satisfies Krishna. If Krishna would be satisfied with some stones put in a certain way, then that's what we want. If Krishna is satisfied with some gold put in a certain way, then that's what we want. Our value is whatever Krishna wants, we want. That is our value. Our value and our desire and our goal. To simply satisfy Krishna. Because that's the goal of life. If somebody understands that point alone, his life is perfect. And who can understand that point? Only the pure souls who are steadily devoted to Krishna. They can achieve unadulterated peace because they are simply interested in the Supreme. Yes, it's fully possible to become Krishna conscious if you are simply interested in Krishna. But so long as we are interested in other things, then it is very difficult. Very difficult. Therefore, one who is Krishna conscious always tries to somehow satisfy Krishna with his work. And if he can't do that, then he considers his work useless. Work is meant to be done as an offering for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Otherwise, that work binds us to the material world. Work is meant for the satisfaction of Krishna because sacrifice was simply created for the satisfaction of Krishna. That's the definition of sacrifice. And work is a sacrifice, is it not? It is a sacrifice of time. It is a sacrifice of energy. Work is sacrifice. But that work must be done for the sake of Krishna. Otherwise, that work and the fruits of the sacrifice will bind us to this world. Therefore, the work, the thought, the talk, the activities of a Krishna conscious man merge entirely in transcendence. And one of the first symptoms of that transcendence is that he loses all taste for materialistic existence. He's not interested in Maya. He is interested in Krishna. If you start to talk about Krishna, he's interested in hearing. If you talk about other things, he may or may not be interested if there's some way in which it relates to Krishna. The sages told Suta Goswami, kindly tell us all things, or kindly tell us about a history, if it relates to the glorification of Lord Krishna. Otherwise, we may not be interested. Or if it relates to the glorification or expansion of understanding of Krishna's pure devotees, then we may be interested. Other than that, we may not be interested. We are interested in that which relates to the Supreme. Vayam tuna vichipyama uttama shloka vikrame icchinvatam rasagyanam sadhu sadhu pade pade. The sages, led by Shaunaka Rishi, spoke this to Suta Goswami, that oh, Suta, we never tire of hearing your nectarian messages. Those who actually have a little taste of relationship with Krishna never tire of hearing about his transcendental glories. But if you tire, that means the taste has not developed. And factually, this development of taste of love of Godhead is the real point. We are not interested in developing taste for love of home, family, friendship, society, nation, community, or even the universe. This taste you can develop in any species of life. As a dog, you can have love for your family too. What does family mean? That which has come from your body. Or one can have love for all men because they're all part of the human body at large. And then they kill animals. Ridiculous. Then maybe somebody even likes animals too. But does he understand why? Is he just kind to everybody because it makes him feel good? Most likely, yes. Who is that deep philosopher who actually understands that we are all related as brothers and sisters? And in spiritual family, we're all Krishna's parts and parcels. How many understand that? How many want to understand that? You even talk to these peace and love movements, whatever they may be called nowadays. How many of them want to understand that the reason why there's a brotherhood is because there's a father who's similar? Common logic. They don't want to understand. Then they start talking about my God and your God. Well, my God wouldn't do like your God would do. My God's different than your God. Everybody says, my God and your God. When you speak of the Supreme, you speak of one. The Supreme. There can be no other. We cannot place up candidates for election. My candidate is this one for the Supreme. Your candidate is that one. My God, your God. My God's better than your God, therefore I will kill you. This is going on, and it will continue to go on, so long as people are completely ignorant of what actually they're talking about. We talk about one Supreme, and we are His parts and parcels. And because they don't have taste, they say, my God, your God. Then how can you have taste if you don't know who you're talking about? You may say, my God, your God, but what is your God? Can you kindly define Him? Oh, my God is the greatest one. Oh, my God is two. Well, my God is the everything. Well, my God is two. No, your God is blue. Well, at least He's something, isn't it? Your God's just everything, isn't it? This is also God by your definition. So, that's silver. What's the difference? By your definition, you should not be disturbed at anything I say, because it's all part of your definition. If I said God was like this or God was like that, you'd have to agree, because you say God's everything. No, but they don't agree. God is everything, God is everywhere, that's nice. But that doesn't make much sense to talk about. How can you have a taste, for instance, for the everything everywhere? There's so many everythings everywhere. Some of them we like, some of them we dislike. So when you are talking about an everything somewhere that you hate, then you're hating God? And if you talk about your sex life, then you're loving God? Because you like it. And that's what they say. That's their philosophy. If it feels good, do it. That's your God. And if you don't like it, then don't do it. But then that's your God too, isn't it? He's everything everywhere. Oh no, but He's not bad. So then anyone can argue, if your God is all good, then why is the bad there? Now, but man created the bad, we say. And they say, but then He's not everywhere, isn't it? It's not everything everywhere. There's something there which is separate from Him, the bad. And at that point we can start discussing. When one actually understands that to say God is everything everywhere is a very limiting definition philosophically. It doesn't get you very far. And it's not realistic. God is everything everywhere. It's not very realistic. Then he's also the bad. So then you've got a God who's responsible for all our good and bad activities. And sometimes because he's responsible for them all, he whimsically likes to throw somebody in hell. Makes him feel good. Then he likes to whimsically put somebody in heaven. He laughs about it. Because after all, you're not responsible for your actions because they're all done by him. And they say like that too. And then they start chastising God. But if you're just everywhere doing everything and here I am suffering, so it must be your fault. You're a cruel God, or you don't exist. In this way people become atheists. Because they first make an impossible claim, which is philosophically false. This is called building up a straw man and burning him. It's a philosophical technique. You take something which is not true. A man of straw is not true. That's false. Because you may have that may be a straw man, but that is not a man. We call it a straw doll. So if you burn up the straw doll, you have not burned up the man. But in this logic, they create the man of straw and then burn him. And say, see? They create a God of straw, then burn him up. And say, see, he's not God. He's burning. And foolish people listen to this logic and go, yes, very good. This is not God. You cannot create straw God and burn him. That is ridiculous. He is supreme. If there is something going on within his kingdom of supremacy, which is everything, then there must be a reason for it. What is that reason? Why don't we discuss that? The reason is because you want it. You want to enjoy. You want to engage in these activities in the material world. Therefore he allows it. But you create the good and the bad. You create the reactions. We are responsible. Us. The finger points at us. Can't avoid it. We may try and place the finger here and here and here and here. It's there. Us. You. No. Yes. You. Don't you understand? That is a fact. You, the living entity, are responsible. That's pretty hard to accept. I am responsible. But no, you are responsible. And Krishna is allowing you to be responsible for your suffering. That means it's still within Krishna's allowance. But now he's allowing you to be an ass if you want to be. He's allowing you to be a great person if you want to be. It's up to you. But it's been up to you for a long time. So there are already so many reactions made which were created by you. And now you're suffering them. They're also created by you. But now you think, well, now I can change it all by my works. But no, because you've already created something else. That's like these people who say, well, I will kill myself. I will drink a bottle of sleeping pills. And then somehow, invariably, they realize they did something stupid. Because it's not very pleasant dying business. So then they try to reach for the telephone, but they never get there. And they think, well, I put myself in this condition. I can get myself out. Where's the telephone? But no, you already walked down that path. Open the door and you're walking through. It's already gone on. You can't just change it like that. Oh, now I don't want to suffer. Oh, ooh, I don't like this. Ooh, that's not nice. Okay, now stop everything. You can't stop your karma like that. Alright, now I've seen that this was not good. I don't like, alright, I repent for all my past sinful activities. No suffering shall come. I've repented, see? No. Get it anyway, you nonsense. You can't just be a rascal and do everything and then all of a sudden repent. Now I'm good again. See? And expect no reaction. No. The material nature will not allow that excuse to work. The material nature will not allow that excuse to work. The material nature will make its stringent control, and no one can avoid that. But a Krishna conscious person is even beyond worrying about that. A Krishna conscious person is one who is engaged in Krishna's service, and he doesn't even care for whatever suffering or distress is already taking place due to the modes of material nature. He knows that it's because he was a rascal. And therefore he suffers it quietly and peacefully, simply waiting for the day when he can surrender to Krishna again. Better, more. Surrender means go back to Krishna. Actually develop love for Krishna. That is what he's waiting for. Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to pray, when, oh when is that day mine, when I will roam on the banks of the Ganges chanting your holy name in great ecstasy. When will that day come? When will that day come when some love will actually manifest in the heart, in these steel-like hearts? When will that day actually come? When will that day actually come when I can appreciate the devotees of the Lord? When will that day come? And one actually thinks, if I can just somehow just get the mercy of the Lord, then that day will come. To just somehow get the mercy of the Lord. How do you get Krishna's mercy? Do you do it by begging very articulately? Do you get it by making a business deal? Do you get it by making tears of repentance? What will give us Krishna's mercy? Well, the best way to get Krishna's mercy is to get the mercy of the spiritual master. His mercy is possible to attain. Krishna's mercy is also possible to attain, but you can't attain Krishna's mercy if the spiritual master is not giving his mercy. It is not that the spiritual master gives you no mercy and Krishna gives you all mercy. Well, who are you? Everybody gets his mercy through the spiritual master. But sometimes we forget about that. We forget about the spiritual master. We take him lightly. We think that, yes, I can get mercy some other way. I don't require spiritual master to give me mercy. Anyway, I can find somebody else. If spiritual master doesn't give me mercy, somebody else will give me mercy. Something like that too. Incredible. Shopping, mercy shopping. Yes, I couldn't get the mercy there because I was a rascal and spiritual master was chastising me. I don't like that. So I'll go find somewhere else to get mercy from. I'll find a Shiksha Guru. He'll give me mercy. Yes, he'll give you his mercy, but you won't get Krishna's mercy. because that's not the way it comes. One will only get mercy when one pleases and satisfies Krishna. If one gives up the shelter of Krishna's representative to get his mercy somewhere else, you think Krishna's satisfied? Of course not. But some people actually think like this. And they actually try to teach others like this too. But anyone who's a little intelligent will understand the cheating process that's behind this idea. Cheating process. Mercy shopping. Oh, I couldn't get it here. Well, maybe for this or that reason. All right, I'll get it somewhere else. That's ridiculous. The mercy is available to those who wish to have it by pleasing their spiritual master. Pleasing their spiritual master means you are pleasing Krishna. And if you displease the spiritual master, you are displeasing Krishna. That's all. Simple principle. And because our whole lives should be dedicated to the pleasure and satisfaction of Krishna, because that is the goal of life, then it goes without saying that one must try to please and satisfy the spiritual master too. And that is the way to satisfy Krishna. There is no other way than that. Unless one tries to satisfy the spiritual master and actually can make his whole life centered around that, he'll never be able to satisfy Krishna. One must do like this. Must. It is not even a question of maybe. It is a definite. This is the way spiritual life must go on. So, one who actually comes to that platform of knowing how to please the spiritual master and thus Krishna, that person is liberated soul. And such a person always experiences great pleasure within, because he's always absorbed within in satisfying or planning how to satisfy the spiritual master's desires. That is the real disciple. Always planning on how to satisfy the spiritual master's desires. All the time. And that he knows is the goal of his life. And he knows nothing else. Such a fixed up, dedicated soul is quite able to attain Krishna's mercy without a doubt. Without a doubt. Therefore, we should be always eager and interested in somehow serving and satisfying the lotus feet of the spiritual master and Krishna. Because only through the mercy of the spiritual master can one attain the supreme. Are there any questions? Yes, you can mix, but then you're known as a mixed devotee, not pure devotee. Mixed devotee, karma misha, jnana misha, desirous for fruit of results or mental speculation. So this is called mishra, mix. Mishra means mix. But don't think now, well, I'm a demigod, so I can also mix. They are taking up the roles of Kshatriyas in the heavenly planets. So there, everything is already very nice. They're not going out of their way to make it nice. It's naturally that way. That's also Krishna's mercy. And those who are too much attached, they also get chastised too. Indra has gotten some chastisements from his spiritual master for this. So don't think I will imitate If you want to imitate Indra and enjoy like that, well, then you also have to be ready to kill some big demons. And if you cannot kill even one little demon, don't apply for the job. Completely satisfied? I think only Krishna can completely satisfy this. So if one satisfies somewhat the spiritual master, that's better than not at all. And the more one satisfies, the better it is. Is it not? They may feel separation, but he's always there too. You may be right next to somebody and feel separation from them. If you thought they would leave, or you knew they would leave. They may not leave, but your thinking of them leaving is enough. That way you may have feelings of separation, even though the separation never happens. Mother Yashoda is always thinking of baby Krishna, but baby Krishna is not there in the spiritual world. But she's thinking of him. Of course you cannot understand this. Don't worry about that. That's nothing strange. What to do when you don't want to surrender? What to do? Well, you're going to do what you want to do anyway, because you're already at the point where you don't want to surrender. You know what you should do. You should surrender. But you've already decided, I'm not going to surrender, so what can be said? So suffer. Don't surrender. Get your head smashed. See if I care. That's how you relate with Krishna. No! Okay. What did you think? You thought there was something to do? And if there was something that would save that condition, do you think you'd do it? If you came to the point of not wanting to surrender to Krishna? Let's say you wake up and you say, I'm not going to surrender to Krishna. And somebody comes along and says, oh, here's a great way to surrender to Krishna. Forget it. Why would you do it? Because you don't want to surrender today. So what's to be done when you don't want to surrender to Krishna? Therefore I say, suffer. That's what's to be done. Go on, have fun. Smash your head. All right, Hare Krishna.